stream today. Jon Snow moving around, eh? Alright then. I'm a tough time trying to figure out what our best move is. Mordor's had a tough week. Try and start pushing them back where I can. Protect forts that I can, see if we can get built up. So this is a weak keep. We can take it. We definitely don't have the numbers up here for a sustained fight against the dwarves, that's for sure. Yeah, this looks to be going real well. Hey, how's it going, Lawrence? Welcome back to the stream. Yes, we definitely do. The map doesn't look great for us right now. We've unfortunately been split. I was trying to get Mordor to focus up here so that we could retake the Ashen Plains and secure these lands, but we had a number of people in the faction feel that this was a much more important fight. And when the faction split like that, we had no chance. So now they're losing down here. We can't really do anything up north. And as you probably just saw me say to Dementor, we're at the point now where we probably have to pull back to Mordor to defend Minas Morgul from you guys, because you're in a position now where you can probably attack it relatively soon. And if there's no one there to defend it, you're gonna get through. But these guys cannot be reasoned with anymore. So, unfortunately, Mordor is pretty well done. They look at it as me giving up. I'm just being realistic. If we don't unite on one front, and one front that matters, then we don't stand a chance. So, I'm gonna fight till the last day, wherever I think is best. But I don't have much hope for Mordor unless people smarten up and unite again. This game is all about teamwork. So when factions don't work as a team, they lose. We've seen that constantly. Yeah, I can imagine, Lawrence. Losing stuff like that, it definitely is a tough blow for factions. Stuff like that ends up, I find, weeding out the serious players from those that were never going to stay anyway. Yeah, exactly, Estelle. I mean, you know, most of the good factions were in this same kind of predicament a week or two ago. Unfortunately, a week or two ago was the proper time to be in that predicament. Back when factions didn't have the strength to really move uncontested. This late in the game, you can't have this kind of indecision and fractures in a faction. As I said, I mean, we've got, you know, we've got strong dwarves fighting us up here. Gondor has a bunch of 50s now. So we're really in a tough spot. I mean, if, you know, the reason that I haven't said to just come down here and help with this is because, as I've been explaining to the guys, I mean, this is really a useless fight for us right now. These lands don't matter so much at the moment. If Gondor comes in and takes southern and northern Con, go for it. I mean, have a happy. We can retake them in time. But losing this and Daggerland and letting the dwarves get over here where the elves were, that's what I'm afraid of. But these guys don't want to move now because they feel like it's going to take them too long to get up here. That's the same reason we're not moving down to help them. We can't sustain a fight up here. It seems like the only useful thing to do is to come in here and get ready to defend. I'm just hoping over the next couple of weeks the unity comes back. We're a really strong faction when we work together. But as I've said to some other people, I am happy to see that the good factions got reinvigorated. Things were looking pretty bleak there a week ago. It's been a good example of the back and forths that are possible in the game. The ebb and flow of the action. Let's see what Mr. Sean Snow has sitting here. Yeah, it doesn't seem like Rohan was able to come back very much. Well, although they were putting up a really good fight against Isengard over here. I think that might have been their last kind of hurrah. So I'm pretty sure there was a big fight going on at this crossing before Isengard took Helm's Deep. Let's see what Kamul does before I send AK over. That's a win. Oh, big time. Ah, oh, yeah, big time. Took out a pather. Yeah, I think I still see a few active Rohans in chat, but other than that, Rohan doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot. Still, I think it's been a good beta overall. I think there's been a lot of new blood introduced to the game. So I think come live, we're going to have a really solid set of players jumping in to start things off. Yeah, we are definitely in the end game now. Should be able to at least beat these guys back. Pretty confident in the commanders that I've got here. I'm gonna do it here, Camille. What do we got? 41 Boromir, he's got a few of them left. Alright. Yeah, let's do it with you. It'll be easy. Take it. All right, Mr. Mazel, what do you got sitting here? Only 648, not a good gauge. And I wonder if, with the amount of siege damage I've got here, I might be able to take this fort out even without a war deck. I think we're gonna try. This might be Grimma's first commander-on-commander fight as a 50. We had some fights over here when they attacked us. That's right. Oh, 123,000 damage from those guys. Wow. I will take it. Slow moving grandma. Hey, half an hour until eggs up. I think he's gonna get another level. Maybe not. Exoc might not make 47 off this mock battle. Might be a little shy. Well, now that we are in the end game, Lawrence, are there any other questions that you've come about in your recent activities? I imagine at this stage of the game, you're probably getting a pretty good handle on the mechanics and all that kind of stuff yourself. I did get a 300. I was able to go, actually I got that on the stream the other day. So that's been helping. 750,000 experience before bonuses on a mock battle. Yes, please. Oh, that 20, seriously, a 29 Aowen still pulls a draw? That's insane. That's just not right at all. Like, seriously. A level 29 Aowen draws against a level 50 Grima. Something's not right about that. Yeah, we'll refill you. Pretty much full, but why not? I'm gonna wait for reinforcements anyway. Ah, congratulations, Lawrence. They definitely help, eh? That kind of surprises me, considering you're on the good side. If you use the right troops, taking 200 plus tiles should be a little bit easier for you. If you're going for tiles, then things like your bow knights and your master throwers, you know, on a commander like Dwaylen, with his skills geared toward large unit damage as well, they can melt trolls at least. Maltok with his mounts can be a pain in the butt. Even with counter cavalry, you can only do so much. I mean, as you can see, Lawrence, I mean, I'm not terribly high in power per hour myself. I'm not even at 40 grand yet. There's some people up in the 50s, 60s. Ooh, nice. Yep. Yep, that is a healthy looking hell deer. Sharpshooters with bow knights. Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a nice looking hell deer. you get her to R5, she can be really beastly. Yeah, she doesn't have the mounted heals right now. The mounted heals, that's where she shines. She's still really good, regardless. I might... Have you tried adjusting the amount of Bow Knights and Cavaliers? She's got physical... yeah. Oh, no, I guess. And that works again. Now, wait a minute. This is something I've never asked before. When it says here, mounted units, damage, effect modified by speed stat. I've always assumed it's the commander's speed stat. Is that the speed stat of the unit, though? Because in that case, there would be not much benefit. The speed isn't much different. 36 to 42, 34 to 42. So yeah, actually, you get a better base damage off these guys. Okay. Ah, yeah. That makes sense. As I just showed though with the numbers, I mean, there's not a crazy amount of difference. Once the Cavaliers have done that first instance of damage, then you know they don't have much benefit. Alright, and I just learned something new for any that weren't paying attention or weren't here for the chat. Apparently, I'm going to have to look at the way I build my Grima, because Mountain Trolls have the taunt on Mountain Trolls overrides Madness. And so, even if Grima affects an opponent's troops with Madness, they will still attack the Mountain Troll. Hey, hello! Welcome to the stream. Any questions? Feel free to ask. We'll try and answer them the best we can. Anything we can't answer, we'll figure it out or find the answer together. Shnola? I'm on server 4. This is the general state of our server right now. Things have gotten pretty interesting over the course of the last week. What server do you play on, Shnola? Are you good, evil? What faction? Alright, 3.5 minutes till he gets here. Alright, we're gonna start. Yes. We're gonna try it. We're gonna try it. I don't know if I'll be able to take it out, but it's worth a shot. Got a big siege unit coming here, 245,000. So that's gonna take some chunks down, even with the 70% missing from my siege damage. Oh, welcome to the game. Unfortunately, you know, the beta does end on the 24th of this month. it's hopefully going live later this year. So be sure to stay tuned for that. You can join the Discord if you want to keep in touch with people and stay informed on game updates and developments and things like that. If you do have any questions about what you should be doing to start, units, anything like that, feel free to ask. Always happy to help people get a handle on the early stages of the game. There can be a lot to go over. I may not even need my big old siege guy. Did a lot more damage to this than I figured I would. So Shnola, if you have been confused as to why I was saying minus 70% things and such, because I don't have an active war declaration right now, I'm still 4 hours away, my units are only doing 30% siege damage because I'm attacking structures in dwarven controlled or enemy controlled land. So I'll bring that report back up. So Kamul here did 41,000 points of siege damage. But if I take a look at Kamul here, he should be doing 137,760. So that's one aspect of the game that some people have a hard time with at first, is attacking into enemy lands. Oh, I won't spoil that. Oh, let's see here. I can take a look. Anti-spy measures are going to be coming in here for a moment. So just don't mind me for a second. All right then. All right then. Only Mordor is open on server 15, and I use Mordor. Okay, so when you're starting off, well, really throughout the entirety of the game, one of the easiest ways to level up commanders quickly is using the mock battle system. I believe you need ring level, is it ring level 5 that mock battles open? Once you hit a certain ring level, this option on tiles will open up called mock battles. You can come in, put a commander on, and you can see here that you'll get a certain amount of experience for one mock battle. That takes 10 minutes. You can increase that number as long as you have the ability points and the stamina on the commander, as well as your grain to fund it, and you get more experience the longer you set your commander to mock battle. So for low-level commanders, this is an easy way to get them, 10, 15 levels sometimes from level 1. Another easy way is sweeps. You'll find these different mobs sitting around the map at different levels. So you can find these and do the same thing, just kind of send a commander. You'll get a certain amount of experience for sweeps. You don't get as much as you would for, say, taking tiles or mock battles, but they can be a good way of topping up commanders. Yes, I will show my ring build. And then, sorry, the other way of just leveling up Commander Shnola is just by taking tiles. As you progress, you'll be able to take higher and higher level tiles, and the higher level tiles you take, the more experience you will end up getting. So this is my ring build, Lawrence. As I've said, some of my main focus when I start the game is on getting these maxed, I like having the 30 extra stamina early, as well as the 10 extra ability points. There's a bit of a bonus, hidden bonus with this one as well. They don't really say anything as far as I've seen in the game, but when you do max control, your ability points actually refresh a little bit quicker. I'll try and catch it when this rolls over, but I believe I get one ability point about every 45 minutes. So that helps. I do usually get this pretty early on as well. Getting the early repositions is handy. This helps all commanders because this just increases their experience gain by 5% from any source. And then I also go ahead and make sure I get the reduction on stamina cost. Sorry, the 10% extra from mock battles, and reduce the grain cost on my mock battles by 10%. And I do those very early as well. I've finally, now once I got those maxed and these maxed, I then went for these three here. March speed I get pretty early as well, but I then went for focus and physical damage, and am now 1 point away from abundant force to reduce my conscription times by 10%. A lot of people seem to use the harvest tree up here. Because it's 10% damage, Lawrence. 10% damage is not all that much. Not in the big scheme of things. So, I've been able to get everything done in terms of tiles and keeps without it. It's all about how you set up your commanders and what troops you use. So Schnola, it depends on the commanders. Is there a specific commander that you're curious about? If so, that would help. I can kind of go into detail on that to give you some examples. If there's anyone else new and joining us, welcome to the stream. Any questions, feel free to ask. We'll try and answer them to the best of our abilities. Yeah, there goes another one. Another one bites the dust. I called this last night. I 100% called this last night, but hey. Okay, Schnola, if you don't have a specific commander in mind, then I will use one of mine as an example here. So Agzok, for example, he's a T1 commander, so pretty easy access for most people. When I looked at Agzok, the first thing you kind of need to... Khaldun and Gorbag. Okay, this is a general... Okay, so Khaldun, actually, yeah. Khaldun is a good example. One of the first things that you want to do when trying to decide how to build a commander is look at their main stats here. You've got might, focus, and speed. So when you see a commander like this that's got a high base might, kind of a moderate focus, and a decent speed, then this tells me it's a damage-based commander. So you've got some options when it comes to Khaldun, for example. This is a really interesting ability just because it does decrease enemy stats, and adding 15 might at max level is going to be beneficial. Having higher might increases the physical damage the commander outputs. So pairing that with a lot of people I've seen use the Spear Dancer build, if you can get Khaldun to respect 3. This adds poison damage along with the physical damage. Getting it to max extends it to 2 rounds instead of 1. And then you can do more to increase the damage dealt. So going through and reading the abilities, this one's kind of an easy one in my opinion to see, because most of the abilities you're going to see other than these are about the only 2 defensive abilities early on. The rest of them that you see are going to have some sort of bonus to damage that Khaldun does. And so that's going to kind of direct you down the damage path. So when it comes to gear, you would also want to look for things that boost might and speed. I don't know if I've got... So something like this would be fine. Yeah, even like a broad axe. The Orc Scimitar would be really good. You know, Urukai Pike. Yeah, most of the weapons we have. You know, something like this you might want to stay away from unless you plan on using ranged units. But focusing on might and speed for stats would be the way to go for Khaldun, and then, you know, however you want to build using these skills, you've got a pretty good options all the way around. Gorbag here, yeah. Now Gorbag is a bit more interesting. He's got a high might, but his focus and speed are both kind of the same. But you can increase his focus with Old Orc, and focus is what dictates how effective your healing is. So if you want to build Gorbag as a healing unit, then you might want to go Old Orc into something like this. If you're wanting him to do damage, then sticking with like the Interrogator build might be better. Some commanders are more straightforward than others. There are some that you really need to kind of read the skills and try and figure out what is this commander trying to do. Are they trying to be a straight up damage commander? Are they trying to support their units and cause their units to do more damage? Or are they trying to like debuff your opponent with things like madness, stuns, silence? But it does seem like some of the agreed upon best skills to look for evil commanders are things like the second in command tree on commanders like Grima and Kamul that give discipline and anticipation. These are both really good skills that work well with our Reapers. They work well with Trolls to give more defense. and they increase the damage that our melee units deal. Madness. Madness is a really good ability for any of our commanders, as a lot of the good units are resistant to stun, but they aren't resistant to madness. I did just find out myself today, though, that the Mountain Troll's taunt overrides madness. So if Grima, for example, afflicts an enemy unit with madness, they will still attack my Mountain Trolls. So I need to readjust how I'm building Grima, it looks like. Agzok here, he is one of the best commanders in my opinion for the evil faction. He's a tier 1 commander, so just about everyone should be able to have access to him, and he does insane amounts of damage with the Pursuer, Shadow of the Mist trees. He does crazy damage. And then I've got this here, I've got 2 points into Numenorian and 1 point into Black Arts just for the heal block. You only need the 1 point in this to activate the heal block, and having that can help against certain commanders. I do think they need to rework some of the evil commanders though. There's some that just don't perform as well as they should. At least from the testing I've been doing. Hey, let's see if he hits 47. It'll be close. It will be close. Hey, let's see. Nope, didn't hit 47. Oh, so close. He's at 50. I could go and get it for him, or just wait for him to get back up to 15. 862,000 from that, though. That's not bad. Most of the important ones, I think, are maxed. Yeah, I'm working on maxing the Apothecary and my Grain Tribute now. What don't I have maxed yet? Oops, that's the barracks. I don't have my storage maxed. I don't have my war room, my battlements, my market, my bowman tower. These 3 tributes are still only at half. Yeah, because I wasn't using Ravagers as much as I thought I would. I never ended up boosting that higher than 2. I don't conscript these guys very often, so leaving that at 5 is fine. Yeah, I could probably boost this to 6 eventually if I want. I use these guys a decent amount. Got this one to 6. This one to 6. Yeah, I could probably get that one to 6 at some point. Yeah, all the buildings I want maxed are maxed. I seem to prioritize things differently than other people. I don't put value in maxing every building as soon as you can. Like I said, like for me, I don't really have any need to increase my battlements if I'm not putting my settlement in an area that it's going to get attacked. I mean, it's cheap as heck from what I saw, so I might as well at some point, but I've been more concerned with keeping my army healthy. that has not been cheap. Actually, no. Well, yeah. Since we're done with that, we're gonna cancel that. We're just gonna send Grima home and rework his troops. Since I now know better about the madness thing. Yes, it is. I will admit that. I remember my first beta as the dwarves. Felt pretty good when I got to see all those numbers at max. The peace of mind at that point, knowing that you don't have to spend resources on anything but troops, it is great, I will say that. So grats to you. I mean, if you do have all of your buildings at max, Lawrence, then yeah, that's a serious grats. Because that takes some work, some dedication, and time. Geez, we're all the way up to 6 viewers now. I haven't said hello to the new people. Anyone new that's joining us, welcome to the stream. Any questions, feel free to ask. We will try and answer them to the best of our abilities. Anything we don't know, we'll find out together. I've already learned one new thing myself today. And geez, I got a lot of these just sitting here saved up. Excuse me. Let's start using some of these. Oh, I completely know that we're just fighting with each other right now, Lord, but I mean, that's not, just changing factions isn't gonna change that, you know. It's about the people. It's about understanding how to work together. I just couldn't, I don't know. I couldn't convince them of the importance of the land up here, it seems, so. I mean, I tried being reasonable, I tried being encouraging, and I just kept getting met with resistance and excuses and reasons. And mama kills. It's like, how useful are those mama kills right now? That everyone just had to go down there for. I mean, I'm still open to different factions, but you know, there is a solid group of players in Mordor, and I am still willing to, you know, join up with those players. Yes, Schnola, it is possible to get respect levels with Matham coins. It's extremely rare. Because you basically need to get an invitation from your Matham coin. And then if you already own that commander, then you get a certain amount of respect instead of unlocking the commander a second time. Yeah, that's the thing, Lawrence. You know, Mama Kills are, because none of us have Black Serpent at respect 5, it's no point, there's no good in using Mama Kills for anything but siege. But we're not in a position where we're constantly sieging things, so the Mama Kills, I don't think are being used to full effect. So, you know, to me, it was, you know, like I said, the fact that so many people came down here, Lord, and were fighting for their mama kills and scared that Gondor was going to push into Khand. Once people dedicated to fighting down here, there was nothing to be done. And you know what? I imagine there are people in Gondor that think I've just been an arrogant prick trying to force people onto a certain path. But unfortunately, I'm one of the few people in Mordor with enough experience to understand that the fight down there was useless. All it was doing was wasting time, wasting troops that we could have been using pushing back actual enemies and actual threats to regain land and secure what we were losing. We could have come back down here eventually. Like, I can't see that Gondor's too invested in this either. The only reason they're pushing is because they've been getting attacked. What good does Gondor have coming all the way over here when they've got enemies all up here? No, Lord, they don't. Dwarves outnumber us. Yeah, I can imagine, Lauren's like, you know, sure, it does a lot of damage, but is it really a big scary thing when somebody's charging you with mama kills? They would be great for siege damage, but we just have never been in a position to afford that kind of luxury, and that's all mama kills are, is a luxury. Even friggin' fell beasts. Like, my god, I've got fell beasts and I don't recruit them because they're just not really worth it. Sure, they give me some fast marches, but they're gonna go down to archers, and the amount of archers we face is ridiculous. Yeah, that's the problem, Phantom, is we've only been fighting maybe half a dozen of them. The rest of the... We haven't even been facing the majority of the dwarven force. They've had a lot of dwarves up here fighting back and forth with Isengard. I know dwarves had taken this, and then Isengard retook it, and now I think dwarves had retaken it. You know, dwarves, what, Dax is gods? Yeah, I mean, the dwarves are up here too. The majority of dwarves, I think, are probably up there, which is why I think we have an opportunity to take this. But yeah, the dwarves do outnumber us, Lord. I'm pretty certain on that. I think they have more players, and I think they have more active players. Plus, I think they have a lot stronger comms than we do in general, because they had so much more time up here not fighting anyone to just focus on gaining power. So the only reason I was confident in coming up here and attacking the dwarves was because I thought Mordor was united. Had Mordor been split like this before I made the call for us to come up here and start attacking the dwarves, I never would have done it. Because we have no chance at holding any ground if they decide to actually attack us full force. And I'm worried that they don't even care about Hills of Rune. They're going to let us keep Hills of Rune because they're coming for Daggerland, and then they're coming for the Black Gate. Guaranteed that is what the dwarves are planning over here. That's why they've got this building up and haven't been pressuring over here. There is a max Phantom. It's something like 1,200 or 1,500. I don't know. But there is a cap on player numbers in a faction. This is starting to get built back up again. I mean, Lawrence, Estelle, if you're still here, you guys may not actually know, and you may not want to tell me. That's totally fair too. But like, I noticed this getting built back up. I know that this attack is coming at some point. I've been telling the guys that I'm pretty confident this attack is not coming today. If you want to confirm or deny that, that'd be awesome. Well, Hills of Rune is a bit easier target in that sense, just because they only have us to worry about. If they come over to Daggerland, they would have to worry about us and Isengard hitting them at the same time. So if they're wanting less of a fight, Hills of Rune is the easier target. We can only hold them off so long at this crossing. If they're ready to go for it, then they're going to go for Daggerland. Especially now that Isengard is having to spread themselves out and defend all over the place. Anyone that was with me for the streams last week, I probably shot myself in the foot saying what I did. You know, it seems like the Dwarven and Elven factions listened and started working together rather than fighting each other. Oh, well, 2 minutes. That's not nearly enough time. But DWMI is starting their attack? Because, like, one... Yeah. Okay. I mean, DWMI can start their attack. It's not you guys that I'm worried about. Oh, okay. Yeah, they're at war for 18 and a half hours, though. Okay. Yeah, no, DWMI can't get through minus Morgul on their own. It's these guys that... If you guys are all online, if Gold is all online right now, the two of them together might be able to, but I honestly don't feel like you guys have enough here yet. So I'm not too worried about a 2 minute. Lord, I'm calling their bluff. I'm calling their bluff. I don't feel confident that they've got enough people here. They can try. I mean, if they did it with this number of people, then geez, we had no chance at defending anyway. But no, this isn't enough people. This isn't enough people to get through the defenders, let alone the siege damage. But you know what, Lord? We should probably start moving over here. I think Ashen Plains is... yeah, I just don't think it's where we need to be right now. Oh, like I said, Estelle, I mean, you can go ahead. I would genuinely get worried in, at most, or like at the earliest, 2 hours. I would need to see more of this get filled with forts and many more commanders before I was genuinely worried that you guys were getting through minus Morgul. There are only, where are level 35 defenders? These are level 45 defenders. And there's 30 of them. So that's not an easy time. Like I said, if they get through it, then hey, that's a surprise and good on them. But I don't see it happening yet. Tomorrow maybe. Which means I need to start preparing, don't I? Yeah, level 45s are a little bit more reliable. But, spoiler alert, Gondor, I think, Lord, it probably is time for us to get over here and defend. Alright, so how are we gonna do this? Where do we want? I don't think I've got a plot yet. Do I want to wait the 2 hours or just? Alright. Gotta figure out how I want to do this. Who do we send it over? Who is the fastest commander we've got? 188. I'm gonna say probably the 188. Yep. All right. We're gonna put it in here. Yeah. So we want this fort. 4 comms should be enough for what? Oh, he moved over here. Ugh. Yeah, I mean, any comms we can get over there is gonna be better than. More is better than less. Alright, 12 minutes until Maltalk gets there. Let's get somebody else loaded up and over as well. We can get the 9 tiles right away. Although, got some areas. Yeah, we may not need it. Alright. Alright, well, looks like we are waiting 9 minutes on Maltalk, almost 16 minutes on Grima. I am going to take this opportunity to go for a quick smoke and bathroom break. I will return in about 5 or 10 minutes. Anyone that needs to leave, thank you very much for joining us today. Hopefully we've been able to answer some questions, help out. Make sure to like and subscribe if it has been helpful so you don't miss the next ones. Until next time, good luck on the battlefield to you. Anyone that's still with us when we return, we'll just keep this thing going. Be right back. And we are back. Well, thank you very much for sticking around. Any that have, any that had to leave, sorry to miss ya. Shnola, how's it going? Can't type. I think so. I think I gotta figure out what is going on with that chat box thing on my overlay, because it doesn't seem to work. Hey, you made it into server 4, Shnola. Welcome. Oof. I don't think... I think you've lost me somewhere along the line here, Lawrence. Is there a chat that I'm not seeing, or? 12K is your faction bonus? Yeah, almost 13. You are quite welcome, Shnola. Always happy to have new players join. Always happy to help out if I can. Actually, Shnola, if you are interested in learning about repositioning, I'm actually just, yeah, I think this is going to be my spot right here. How many do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Half, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Alrighty. Yeah, let's go a little bit closer then. I said repositioning, didn't I? I meant relocating, because repositioning is not a thing anymore. Oh, welcome. Glad you were able to make it in. Yeah, no problem. So in order to relocate your settlement, you need to take a 3x3 plot of land, which is 9 tiles. So I'm going to be taking the tiles here to make this a 9x9 plot. And then once I do that, I will just need to recall all my armies to my settlement. I've already got my relocation token, and I will be able to relocate once I have this land. Does Maltok have enough to take? Yes. Yes, he does. Awesome. So I'm going to be relocating from up here, down here, so that when it does come time to defend minus Morgul, I'm able to get reinforcements over here much quicker. Well, the thing is, Phantom, we're basically in the same position we were when elves were up here. Like I said, I do agree with you when you say, you know, why would the dwarves come over to Hills of Rune when we've got it more heavily defended, when they could just come over and take Daggerland, which is a pretty easy target for them. And as soon as they do that, they've got access to the Black Gate. So if we come back here, we're able to defend both just the same as we did against Gondor and the elves. I guess we'd need something over here, but we would still be able to come back up here and defend Hills of Rune or Nirn against the dwarves if they started moving this way. The main reason that I'm calling us all back here is because we would just be wasting time, I think, and resources up here. If we keep fighting the dwarves here, we might be able to take the keep. Like Swan on our own, we might be able to take the keep. But even if we do, the dwarves are going to then push back. And we're just going to be up here fighting the dwarves for 2 or 3 days or a week until somebody gets the upper hand. And in that time, Gondor is going to take minus Morgul. So, unfortunately, I honestly do think that the best call is for everybody to just move back here and be ready to defend. I don't like retreating from here. I don't like giving up land. But I also try and look ahead and I play chess, so I try and play 3 moves ahead in whatever I do. And looking 3 moves ahead, I see this as being the danger zone. All right. Well, Shinola, I will say you're in a pretty safe spot right now to just do some leveling, build your personal power, level some commanders up, and then as soon as you're ready to join the fight, I'm going to build a fortress over here for us again. Might just take this same tile for it. Once I get the fortress built, you'll be able to relocate a commander over here and get yourself a fort built. Forts unlock at ring level 10, and once you unlock those, then you'll be able to start moving around the map. As you can see here, this is one of my forts. Each fort has its own movement range, and you just build these on any normal 1x1 tile that you own. Good example here. Yeah, so right here, I would just come to this tile, hit build. You can see the fort. This is when you would rename it. You cannot rename it once you start building it. They cost a minimal amount of resources and 12,000 gold. They take 2 hours to complete. Already covered that, Phantom. That was one of his earlier questions about how to level up commanders. Sounds good, Schnola. Alright, and this makes a 3x3 plot of land. There we go. So now I just recall. Just recall everybody. Yeah, I came to the realization yesterday, I think it was, that I'm gonna have to find a new game to stream in the downtime until live. Probably gonna be a different kind of game than this one. I don't play any other games like this one as far as I know. I know I've heard people talk about this Immortal Conquest. I think that's what IC is. Never actually checked that one out. If we have any fans of the TCG genre, I do play Magic the Gathering as well as Hearthstone. Just got both of those re-downloaded on the PC. I've played the game since, what was it, I think it was around last Christmas. Like not this one that just passed, but the one before that. I believe that is when I joined the previous beta. I've played as dwarves, Rohan, dabbled as elves a little bit, Gondor, Mordor now. I think I've had accounts on at least 5 or 6 different servers, if not more. Got a pretty good feel for most of the commanders, most of the troops. Things like that. The gear. I imagine there will be a number of things that change come live, so a bunch of the videos that I already have posted will probably either need to come down or be edited or just replaced in general. But hopefully, there are some that are able to stay up and still be helpful. The best faction, that's not an easy thing to decide, really. Yeah, there's a lot of variables that go into it. You know, if you ask people from different servers, you're going to hear a lot of different answers. Elves always seem to be pretty strong on the good faction side. They just seem to get a lot of players quite often. Same with Gondor. Rohan and dwarves, sometimes they don't get the same kind of population numbers to be as strong. Whereas the dwarves on this server in particular, they are an exception to that, where they have a lot of active players and they have become one of the stronger good factions. On the evil side, the only two factions that I've actually had experience with seeing player controlled are Mordor and Isengard now. They both have their strengths. Mordor and the trolls that we have are pretty strong, but the Snagathrax from Isengard, their tier 4 unique unit, it's pretty much unmatched in terms of damage output. There's a lot in this game that comes down more to troop compositions, as well as, you know, using the right commanders the right ways, tactics. A lot of that decides the fights and the outcomes more than just which faction is being used. Even though Rohan isn't generally one of the stronger factions that I've seen, they do have one of the strongest tier 4 units in their marshals. So, you know, it's things like that that make deciding the best faction hard. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. It's all right, Lawrence. It doesn't really. I mean, my war cry is shiny sausage, so I don't really think I'm one to judge war cries. You know, if it fires you up before battle, you go for it. Yeah, this is probably happening. Could it happen by reset? That's what? 8 hours? Yeah, this could happen by reset. I still doubt it. Even if they try, I don't think they can get through yet with what they have here. But we'll be keeping an eye on it. We will definitely be keeping an eye on it. Gotta be addressed sooner than later. Yeah, I mean, that's when you give your war cry. It's when you're charging your target. I see we are back up to 7 viewers. Welcome to the stream to anyone that's new. Any questions about the game, feel free to ask. We will try and answer to the best of our abilities. Anything we don't know the answer to, we will try and find out together. It'll be an adventure. I am making preparations now to defend Minas Morgul from those dirty Gondorians. No offense there, Lawrence. So gems. One of the, actually I can show you right here. One of the biggest places that I spend my gems personally is right here. Yep. I like to speed up my apothecary heals whenever I can. Another really good use of gems is in the store here. You can refresh your deals for 50 gems at a time, 3 times a day, and sometimes you get some interesting deals for gems. There is nothing wrong with spending 200 gems a day if you have it on the 3-hour resource boosts. As you can see, they cost 50 gems each, 4 of them. That makes 200 gems. Another good option for 50 gems apiece are your tavern tip speed ups if you don't like waiting for your tips. The 200 gem Matham chest isn't a terrible option, but it is risky to spend your gems on Matham chests, that's for sure. You will get more gear, you can get gifts and invitations for commanders, but they are very low chances. Gems can also be used to speed up construction if you are close enough to having construction finished and want to just speed that process along a little bit. Oh, and I just got this 300 over here too. This is sad. Gonna have to leave it. Gonna have to get a 300. Oh, do we even have 300s in Gorgoroth? Might, but oh, this is gonna be rough. We're going for it anyway. Hey, Mike B, how are ya? Yes, we do still have Minas Morgul. No, Lawrence, I don't think you're going to attack now, but I do think this attack is coming within the next day or two, for sure. I mean, at the earliest, I'd be concerned about reset tonight. I could see you guys having enough people here and ready by reset tonight. But more likely, I think tomorrow morning is when this attack happens. How long? There's wrong one. Yeah, like, yeah, nobody's. All right, 6.5 hours. So it's probably. Yeah, I could see it happening before reset then. I have a feeling these guys probably want to make use of their siege damage if they can. So, like I said, Lawrence, I don't think you're attacking right this second, but I could see it happening, now that I've checked that, within the next 6.5 hours. For sure. Yeah, let's, can we... This search function, it exists. Doesn't work very well. Search within, yeah, 21 tiles. What do you mean with reset? So by reset, you obviously haven't watched my slang terms video. By reset, I mean when the tavern resets, or when the server resets. So that's going to be roughly 8 hours. The server resets at 000000 UTC each day. In my time zone, that's 8 p.m. So, like I said, I could see the attack on Minus Mortal happening by or before reset. Yeah, I do know that it takes a lot to take Minus Mortal down, Mike, which is why I'm not terribly, like I said, I'm not too concerned that it's going down right this second. I don't think they have enough people here. But all these forts get filled with commanders, and as I said earlier, once I start seeing this empty space get taken back up and forts start going up here, that's when I start taking notice. Oh, well, I appreciate that, Frosh. Welcome back to the stream, by the way. Yeah, Phantom. As I said, I can see it happening within 6.5 hours. I imagine this warband, or this fellowship here, because I know, where were they? Oh, have they moved? Okay, maybe not, because, okay, yeah, I knew they had some people here, sitting and waiting. Oh yeah, I know, Mike. What server are you on, Mike? Yeah, let's just get this done. Alright, so if there was anyone still curious about relocation, I have my 3x3 plot of land ready to go. I have recalled all of my commanders to my settlement. And I have my relocation token. I meet all the restrictions for relocation. Relocate. Click. And poof. I'm back home. You buggers. Oh, that's fine. I'm pulling out of here anyway. Alright, so yeah, I'm gonna take that. Alright, yes, we were readjusting Grimace troops, weren't we? So, if mountain trolls aren't the thing, Ravagers, snipers. Probably snipers. The Ravagers would be good. 111 defense. I only have 35 of them right now, though. Where are my Ravagers? Ah, they're on Kamul. Alright, take those off. Put a bunch of them on Rina. Kamul can take the mountain trolls. Alrighty. I think that looks like a healthy Kamul. Healthy Grima. Siege machine. Probably do even better with. Hey, how's it going, Skane? Good to see you again. How are things over there? Actually, you're with us now, Skane, but I know you're also in another server. How are things on your main server, Skane? Who do we want with him? Actually, some mountain trolls on him would be decent. I don't know, it drops his siege down. Alright. Almost 300,000 siege. Nothing to do. How is there nothing to do? That's crazy. Oh, wait, yeah. Server 3. Server 3, that'd do it. No, we're not at that point yet. We've still got lots to keep us busy over here. Hey, it became a small battlefield. Yep, there goes that fort. Oh man. This is gonna be an interesting couple of weeks. Definitely gonna be an interesting couple of weeks to finish off the beta. I hope anyone who is playing this for the first time has enjoyed the beta so far. I hope you've been able to learn a lot. I hope you've made some friends along the way. I know I've made a lot of new friends with this beta, a lot of new people that seem to fit right in with the rest of us. I'm definitely excited for the live launch. I think it's in a good place. I don't see a whole lot of major changes that need to be made. I think they've got most of the stuff dialed in. You know, there are a few tweaks here and there that could smooth things out. But overall, I think they've done a really, really good job. Let's start taking a look. I know I've got a 12. Yeah, I've got a here. Yeah, I've got a 12 down. Oh, I haven't taken it yet. I still haven't heard any official word on a release date. The most I've been able to gather is later this year, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this release within some sort of time frame with the Amazon Lord of the Rings series. You are very welcome, Frosh. If it's helped anyone, that's been the purpose, and it makes me quite happy. Looking a lot like S1, probably, Skane, if you remember that map. But yeah, with the Lord of the Rings series coming out, I believe in September, I wouldn't be surprised to see this release kind of in line with that. I'm not saying they're going to release at the same time, but I think it would be beneficial for these guys to release it around that time when there's already going to be an influx of interest in Lord of the Rings. That's not totally true there, Mike. I know they use snipers quite often. I think the one thing that needs to change, though, is this idea here, where you've got, you know, Mordor has the scout layer, but Angmar also has the scout layer. So, you know, like, why? I know the good factions, I think, have the same thing with... Oh, what unit is it? I can't remember now. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's a... Dunedains. Sorry, Dunedains is the good unit that does the same thing. These guys, I don't find any of these units worthwhile. The Corsairs are the only unit from Rune right now. No, they aren't. They're totally different. Isengard has access to the Berserkers, the Alchemists, and the Snipers. And Mordor has the Crushers, the Raiders, and the Trolls. I know that Isengard can use the Trolls. Like, Isengard can get all the Mordor buildings. And yes, I do believe most of the Isengard players have started using Crushers in place of their own Berserkers. But that is one of the things that I think needs to be changed. Berserkers are just a weird unit, in my opinion. This effect decreases every round, but if you read their description, their power is supposed to increase the longer they fight. So they kind of work in the exact opposite manner that they say they do. Alchemists are an amazing unit from Isengard, just because they have the insane siege damage, and they can do massive amounts of burn damage themselves. But the thing is, Mike, I don't know if you understand, like, that's kind of why they set the factions up this way, though, is these, you know, the units for Mordor aren't going to be the best units to use, even for Mordor, all of the time. These units for Isengard aren't going to be the best units to use, even for Isengard, all the time. It depends on what you're fighting. You know, if you're fighting dwarves and, you know, a lot of archers, this is actually a really good set of units to use. The burn damage gets through some of the defense, the snipers. You know, these are the main ranged unit that any evil faction should be using. Lord, the Reapers, they don't need to change. They are great if used properly. The Scout Layer definitely, I think, needs to be something unique. What? Okay, sorry, Mike. I must be misunderstanding what you're meaning then. The Arbalests, I find they're a really weird unit because they would be really good if they weren't competing with snipers. I can't bring myself to recruit Arbalests when I know how much better snipers are. The main use for these, in my opinion, would be against Oathbreakers. Well, yeah, okay, Mike, everybody has the same units other than tier 4, though. That's, again, that's the idea behind setting it up this way, is that your main faction has access to a tier 4 unit, but you always have access to the tier 1 to 3 units of the other factions. In terms of actual units, they're not the same. Mordor conscripts these guys, and Isengard conscripts these guys. Again, if people use units from another faction more than another, it may skew the visuals, but there are two completely different sets of units to be conscripted between Mordor and Isengard. Down goes the mic, sorry about that. Might have heard a little contact thingamajig. I was trying to, I was trying to look for a 300 while I was doing this. So I've got this 260 here. Let's see if there's a 300 in range of this somewhere. Nope. They both. Again, but it's not, Mike. It's like I said, they both have completely different units to conscript. Isengard cannot conscript Crushers from their Isengard buildings. They have to use the Morgul quarters. So Isengard they just can't conscript raiders on their own. They have to use either the Morgul quarters or the northern quarters. You know, so again, I'm not sure where you're getting this idea that they don't have different units. I mean, the same thing could be said for, like, dwarves. You know, dwarves use elven units. So are dwarves and elves the same? Like, that's my disconnect here. I can look at their buildings. The only building I can't look at is the Snagathrak building. So where's the disconnect here? Isengard builds a bruiser lair up here. Mordor builds a grunt lair. Isengard builds a breaker lair. Mordor builds a scout lair. Isengard builds an Uruk archer camp. Mordor builds a cave troll lair. Isengard themselves don't build these buildings. Yes, you can get them through the Morgul quarters, but that's the same as having access to the Rune or the Angmar units. Like I said, just because Isengard members might use Mordor units more than they use Isengard units, doesn't mean Isengard doesn't have their own units. Like I said, like, these are 3 completely different buildings to the buildings that Mordor uses. Yes, you have access to these as Isengard, but that doesn't mean that Isengard and Mordor are the same. Because again, I could make the same argument saying that Isengard and Rune are the same because they have access to the Rune units, or Isengard and Angmar are the same because they have access to the Angmar units. They had to build it this way to allow counters. Well, but they don't. I'm sorry, Mike. They don't. You can clearly see here. Are you looking at the screen right now, Mike? Because these are the Isengard units. Right here. These are the base units that Isengard gets to conscript when you start an account. Before you upgrade any of these buildings, this is what you get as Isengard. Once you start upgrading your Morgul quarters, then you get access to Mordor units. But until then, these are the units that Isengard uses. These are the units that Mordor uses. They're completely different. I'm moving on from this topic. Anyone else in the chat that wants to continue that with Mike, go for it. I'm not sure what the misunderstanding is, but they have totally different units available to them. Hey, there is a... Oh, he's taking that one. Fine. But, like, Mike, if you were to start an Isengard account and you never leveled your Morgul quarters, you would not have access to any Mordor units. So... I don't see what you're getting at. Me either, Mike. Like I said, I don't know where the disconnect is. They don't have the same units. They have totally different units available to them from the start. Yes, you can blend units from different factions, aside from the T4s, but it doesn't mean that 2 factions are the same. Well, yeah, the units from those buildings are always going to be the same. But, again, just because you can use units from another faction does not mean that 2 factions are the same. If Isengard didn't have access to Mordor units, they'd be screwed. Same, and vice versa. If we didn't have access to Isengard's units, we'd be screwed. We wouldn't have the snipers to go against, the archers that we come up against. But it doesn't, by any means, make Mordor and Isengard the same, or mean that they use the same units. That comes down to players. As I said, if if an Isengard player makes the choice to use Mordor units over Isengard units, that's a personal choice. It wasn't anything forced on them. It doesn't mean that Isengard doesn't have their own units to conscript. It just means Isengard's units weren't the best units to conscript for that situation. But they don't need their own pikemen and swordsmen. That's the thing. They can recruit pikemen from Rune. They can recruit crushers from Mordor. So they do kind of have their own swordsmen in Berserkers. But that's the same across all factions. Every faction only has one unique unit. Everything else is able to be shared across the factions in order to create proper and balanced troop compositions for what you're going to face. Not really. The Uruk-hai were the iconic unit from Isengard, which is why that's the race that, like, the Berserkers were their big thing. The pikemen were, even in like the movies and stuff, the pikemen were generally recruited from the Easterlings. To be honest, the evil factions are better off using raiders against mounted units than they are spearmen anyway. What do you mean the factions all have equivalents? Oh, I've watched that scene numerous times. There's one scene near the end of that battle with the pikemen trying to hold their ground against Gandalf and the charging Rohirrim. The entire beginning of that fight is berserkers and swordsmen and archers. And you could even tell that the Orcish and Uruk-hai pikemen weren't very well trained. They did not have a very good formation. Because I do think that the big change that needs to be made is, changing out, because this, if you were talking about this kind of thing, Mike, I totally agree with this. When you see, a scout layer for Angmar and a scout layer for Mordor, That right there is 100% the same unit for two factions. That I don't like. I can understand Mordor having the Raiders, that makes sense. Why can't these guys have something else? The T4 unit for these guys is the Fallen, which is on a horse anyway. But why not have some horse-mounted unit? Either that, or give these guys some sort of frontline, meat shield like the Crushers. Both of these, I think, need to be reworked. Just underwhelming, completely. The Corsairs are pretty good. I don't really think anything needs to change with the Corsairs. As I said, I personally think these need to be reworked in order, either this needs to change to match what the ability actually does, or the ability needs to change to match that, or they just rework them completely. The Alchemists, I think, are fine. Having one high siege damage unit is great. And then the Snipers, they are the perfect unit, I think, for the evil factions. Like I said, you absolutely need to have Snipers to go against the good factions and their Dunedains. Yeah, Dragoons are terrible. I really don't like the Dragoons one bit. Just not happy with them. I kind of think the Ravagers need a rework. I don't know, maybe I'm just not delving into them enough. But I just find Mountain Trolls so much better than Ravagers right now. The taunt that these guys have, I mean, it's so hard to beat. Yeah, like I said, I think Reapers, are fine. Once we figured out how to actually make use of them, they have really started to shine. And yeah, the Arbalests, I mean, I don't know if I actually got to mention it before, but like one of the best uses for the Arbalests, in my opinion, is going up against Oathbreakers. These things will tear Oathbreakers apart really quick. Other than that, oh, it's tough to use them. Tough to use them in place of Snipers. Yeah, I've got a few more Ravagers recruited now. Yeah, I'm gonna try them on Grimma, because I found out today that the taunt from Mountain Trolls overrides Grimma's Madness. And so even if a target afflicted with Madness will still attack Mountain Trolls. So I figured I'd try Ravagers on Grimma just because I do think having that extra defense is great for your Trolls. But yeah, it's too expensive to maintain both Ravagers and Mountain Trolls, I find. So most of the time I make the choice to go Mountain Trolls. And I don't really know what they could do to fix that either. That's like, if they want to keep Trolls as the T4 unit for Mordor, something's got to change. I don't know if they would need a higher defense. If the chance on this would need to increase, because even at max, I'm pretty sure this is only a 50% chance. Yeah, exactly, Mike. Like, not only do they take a lot of grain, but they take up a lot of barracks space as well. As you can see here, like, I've got 210 mountain trolls. Well, yeah, I've got 210 total. I've got 100 on a commander. And then now I've started to get a bit more of these just because. Like Fell Beasts, I only ended up recruiting, I don't know, maybe 100 of them to have them as, you know, to get people where they need to be faster. Other than that, I stick with my Crushers, my Snipers, my Reapers, my Alchemists. Nice, indeed, indeed, Lord. Once you get to that point, yeah. And like that's why I don't have all of my buildings maxed, is because I've been trying to maintain a healthy army, and so whenever I could, I was swapping out my stone for grain just to recruit a little bit more. Well, I haven't addressed anyone new to the stream. If we do have any new viewers, welcome. Any questions about the game, feel free to ask. We'll try and answer them to the best of our abilities. Just starting to make some preparations. I keep trying to find a 300 and getting pulled away to my base to check stuff. And then I forget for a few minutes, and then all of a sudden it hits me again. Got a 12 down here that I want to take. Gotta be a 300 around here somewhere. Like, do you mean when your Ravagers end up dying, it takes you too long to get the commander back out there kind of thing, Mike? Because if that's the case, I definitely understand what you mean there. Oh, come on. There's gotta be a 300 around here somewhere. But I want to make sure it's within my range. Man. Let's try a search maybe from here. Any 300s? Nope. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's generally why, for me, if I do know that I'm going to be using trolls in an upcoming fight, I generally try and have, like for my mountain trolls, I don't like going into fights with them if I don't have at least 200, pretty much. I want to have, you know, a minimum of about 60 on a commander, And if I have 200, I can field 2 commanders with mountain trolls and have a reinforce ready to go. But that's it. Talk to you later, Lord. Thank you very much for joining. Always happy to have you. You have yourself a wonderful day. Well, it looks like we might just need to go and take that 12. Does not look like there is a 300 in the immediate vicinity. That's unfortunate. And as you can see, like the search function, it's a thing. Doesn't really work all that well. Yeah, it's rough. Holy crap, buddy. This guy really... Yeah, wow. He took some tiles. Wow. That's kind of sad to see. Oh, so you do make use of raiders quite often, eh? I haven't ended up using them as much as I thought I would. Huh. Yeah. Very nice. That would be one hell of a place to take. Sorry. Mama kills are not the steamroll you may think. Especially against Oathbreakers. Yeah, Oathbreakers would shut them down hard. For Oathbreakers, you want to use your Arbalests, your Corsairs, your Alchemists. Those would tear through the Oathbreakers real quick. Commanders like Kamul, Grishnak, Ugthak. Any of the ones that do focus, poison, or burn damage. They all get through the Oathbreakers real easy. Yeah, that'll do it. Like I said, you put them with some mountain trolls. Yeah, they'd tear through the Oathbreakers. A good commander. This guy is a really good like anti-Oathbreaker commander because your ranged units deal additional burn damage. And he inflicts extra burn damage as well. pair him up with some arbalists and some snipers. And they'd get the job done. Oh, wow. Yeah, they're not an easy enemy to get through by any means. I mean, they do have a ton of health and defense and do crazy damage. But because they're considered a large unit, if the good factions prepare themselves properly, they can get through Mama Kills pretty easy. You get a Dwaylen with some Bonites and Master Throwers set up for large units himself. They can tear through them alright. Well, I don't think I can find... I'm gonna have to do some more in-depth searching for a 300, I guess. Probably one over here somewhere. Way out at this edge. Yeah, got a 300 right here. Alright. Oh, I might have to go with that one then. In it for now. I really don't want a stone. 300 for stone either, but hey, I guess I'll take what I can get. Alright, well, I think I've done most of the major stuff that I'm going to be doing for this morning. There's a few little administration things I'm going to probably take care of. Just get some more prep done. But I think I'm going to be calling this stream here. Gonna go down and get some lunch. Maybe go out for a rollerblade or a bike ride with my son. Some nice weather out there. I will probably be back later this afternoon though for a secondary stream. Any that decide to join me for that are more than welcome. I hope I've been able to answer some questions, clear some things up. I know I've learned a few things this stream myself. To anyone that joined, thank you very much. Always appreciate any views and viewers we get. Always enjoy the chats. Please be sure to like and subscribe if it did help at all, so you don't miss the next ones. Yeah, that is... Alright. Yes, we've got everything done. So once again, thank you very much for joining me, and until next time, good luck on the battlefield.